what's so amazing, I think this is what's so amazing about you, from knowing and talking to you many times about your rise to the screen, basically, is like, you've been on, like, we're not using the X Factor term journey here, but you have been on a journey to get to this point, haven't you? There's been the highs, the lows, and we picked up a bit about this in the previous part of the episode. But how has that been for you, that story of literally, you know, the rejections, you going forwards and backwards? What has that story been like for you?
I mean, you know what? I think if you talked to me like 10 years ago, what was I doing 10 years ago? Geez, I was in between, I was applying back to drama school again. And I mean, that's why I said to you earlier, I never want to understate the amount of rejection that happens, because it's not like you face it at the beginning of your career and then it completely ends and then everything's wonderful and you're just constant award ceremonies. Like, it's so not that in any way. But you know, it was really hard, and I think it's funny because looking back now, I wouldn't change anything. No. Whereas at the time, when you're very miserable and you're struggling and, you know, your dream seems, you sometimes feel ashamed of your dream in a way, because you go, it's so pie in the sky. It's so like, I didn't know a single person who was an actor growing up. I was like, that doesn't seem like a realistic career. These are people on the telly, but I don't know them. And could I be one of them? And what makes me think I could? So it is sort of embarrassing sometimes to go, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be one of those people. But I think, as you said, it's a journey. It's not like you reach the final destination. You're like, well, I've got this show now. I've made it. It's like just a constant ongoing thing. And I mean, I still have that fear that I'm going to, you know, everything will finish and nothing will happen. And I think, but the fear is probably a very good motivator to work hard, you know. Maybe I should just always keep a little bit of fear in me.
In those times when you had the kind of like downturns, you know, when you were reapplying to drama school, and we spoke before about when you had to move back to Ireland because you were like in that situation, you went back to working in retail, and then you then had this amazing break and you took yourself to London, auditioned for the play, and then you literally, then that was the trajectory for you, wasn't it, from there? But then even in that trajectory, there's so many ups and downs in that trajectory, right?
Completely. I think it's very easy to tell your story, quote unquote, and make it just seem like, and then it was this and this and this, and then it was all fine and wonderful. But that wasn't the case. Like, I think I felt like a huge failure a lot of the time. Moving to London at first, I felt like it just swallowed me up. I just couldn't manage it. I was like, well, clearly I can't live here. And, you know, you have to be super tough to live in London, and I haven't made a success, and, you know, I'm just working in retail. I'm not being an actor. This is rubbish, and I'm really broke, and I can't afford to hang out with my friends. This is not what I wanted to do. Because you've already gone through that, you know, applying to drama school, and that's so difficult, and there's so much rejection, and financially that's difficult too, you know, because I had to fly over and pay for all the auditions and accommodation and all that stuff. That's not easy to put that money together. But then, having to leave London that time, I felt like such a failure. I felt awful. I felt like the lowest of the low. And when you move back in with your parents, you know, I think I was 28 at the time. I thought, wow, I am nothing. I'm just absolutely nothing. I can't believe. And then you feel silly for, you know, wanting to do a career like that. And I thought, you know, I have an English degree. I could have just gone and done something sensible. And, you know, I have no money to my name. I can't afford to go get a coffee. I'm not a proper adult. I'm not, you know, it's awful, because I think in times like that, your brain can be very cruel, and it can sort of be, you can be your own worst enemy. Like, what's the good in telling yourself you're a loser? What's the good in being hard on yourself? There's no good in it. Very easy to say that now out of it, but at the time you can really beat yourself up. But I mean, that's one of the things that I'm sort of proudest of in my life, is that I was able to get out of that mind frame and that time. And it was really slow. It wasn't like I woke up one day and felt better, but it was just lots of little things. Like, I think I'm very lucky to have such a caring family, and that are so supportive, and that my sister that was like, get out of bed, we're doing this thing, we're doing this. And but I think it makes me crazy grateful for getting to do what I get to do. Like, I arrive on set and I just am like, Jesus, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky.
And you should be proud of yourself of that, because I think so I was thinking about this today, actually, because I was thinking about your story and what you've been through, and like, at times when I felt like a failure personally, it feels quite lonely. Like it can be the most isolating thing when you feel like a failure, doesn't it? What have those kind of periods taught you about the concept of loneliness and what being alone versus loneliness is?
Oh gosh, I think, I totally feel that too. And I think I definitely had times where I was like, why would anyone want to hang out with me? I'm boring. I have nothing to say. I'm not worth being around. And it's just like, you have to try and find the strength from somewhere to say, that's not true. That's not true. And it's like, to just reach out to people. And it's okay. I think some people feel like, and I think I have as well, that there's shame in saying you're lonely, whereas there shouldn't be. There's nothing wrong with saying I need people around, and I think it's just, again, it's another lie that your brain can tell you, that you're like, oh, don't tell anyone that you need someone. Don't tell anyone you're lonely. When I first moved to London, I was terribly lonely. And I think that's why now, if I go on a job or even go on a shoot or something, I just want to meet people and talk to them, because, it's other human beings that will help you out of that and help. Like, that human connection is so vital. And I think we've found it this year as well, because we have been so isolated that we just need to reach out. And it's also, loneliness can be a really common thing. You'd be surprised at the people that that have suffered through it. And it's nothing to suffer through, because we shouldn't be ashamed of it.